Hey, what's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Man, there's a lot going on right now in Kansas City, and if you're not paying attention, you're already behind. Travis Kelce just locked in his return to Arrowhead, and almost immediately a veteran pass rusher with some serious hardware on his resume started sending signals that he might want in on this thing. Then there's the draft, less than 30 days away, and the debate around the Chiefs' top pick is getting real uncomfortable real fast, with analysts going back and forth on whether this guy can actually be the edge rusher Kansas City desperately needs. And on top of all that, the cornerback room is in rough shape, and the front office is running out of time to fix it. Hit that like button if you're locked in, because we're starting right now. Kelce's back, and that just changed everything. Alright, so the news dropped. Travis Kelce is staying in Kansas City, 3-year deal back at Arrowhead. Realistically, it might be just one more season at full throttle, but honestly, even one more year of Kelce catching passes from Patrick Mahomes is a massive deal, and apparently the rest of the NFL noticed too. Almost the second the news went live, New Orleans Saints legend Cameron Jordan jumped on X and posted, "Oh yeah, Trav," in response to Kelce's contract. Simple enough, right? Except the internet didn't take it that way, and honestly, neither did a lot of people around the league. Now players celebrate each other all the time, and maybe this is nothing, but here's where it gets interesting. Jordan recently said publicly that he might not be back with the Saints next season, and on top of that, Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones, one of the most respected voices in that locker room, has already been vocal about the team going after Cameron Jordan. Dude is out here recruiting. And look, the Chiefs need this. Their pass rush has been one of the weakest spots on the roster. Jordan just came off 10.5 sacks for a Saints team that went nowhere last season, and that number would have led the entire Kansas City defense by a mile. Yeah, he's heading into his 16th season in the league, but Jordan is still as dangerous as ever, especially in obvious passing situations. He doesn't need to play 70 snaps a game. He just needs to show up when it matters, and that's something he absolutely still does. The Chiefs only have around $7.1 million in cap space right now per over the cap. But if Jordan is genuinely interested in playing for Andy Reid and competing for another ring, there's a real chance he takes a discount to make it happen. This one is worth watching very closely. Alright, but while the Chiefs are out here potentially adding a veteran pass rusher, there's another pass rusher situation brewing, and this one is even more complicated, because the pick at number 9 is starting to raise some serious red flags. Let's get into it. Let's be real for a second. Nobody saw this coming 2 years ago. The Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes' team, picking in the top 10. It sounds wrong, but here we are. A 6-11 season, a torn ACL for Mahomes, and a franchise that's now staring down one of the most important draft decisions in recent memory. And right now, the name that keeps coming up for that 9th pick is Ruben Bane Jr. out of Miami. ESPN draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. has him going to Kansas City in his latest mock, and on paper, the fit makes sense. The Chiefs need an edge rusher badly, and Bane is one of the most explosive college pass rushers in this class. But then Kiper sat down with fellow analyst Field Yates, and what came out of that conversation is going to stick in Chiefs fans' heads for a while. Kiper asked Yates straight up, if you're taking Bane in the top 10, are you convinced he's going to be a double-digit sack guy in the NFL? And Yates didn't sugarcoat it. He said no, he's not convinced, and the reason he gave is hard to ignore. Since 1999, not a single player with arm length of 31 inches or shorter has recorded a double-digit sack season in the NFL. Not one. Bane falls right into that category. Now, does that mean he can't be the guy? Not necessarily. Outliers exist, and that's part of what makes sports worth watching. But when you're talking about a top 10 pick for a team that absolutely cannot afford to miss, that kind of historical precedent matters a lot. Here's the real pressure on Brett Veach. If Bane is available at 9 and Kansas City passes on him, and then he goes on to be a monster in the NFL, maybe even the outlier who finally breaks that stat, the Chiefs front office is going to hear about it for years. But if they take him and he never develops into a consistent pass rusher at this level, that pick could set the franchise back at a position they're already desperate to fix. There's no clean answer here, and with the draft less than 30 days away, the clock is ticking. And if the pass rush situation wasn't stressful enough, the cornerback room is quietly becoming one of the biggest concerns on this roster. The Chiefs lost pieces they can't easily replace, and the draft might be their best shot at fixing it before training camp. Here's who they should be targeting. 2 years ago, Kansas City was playing in their 3rd straight Super Bowl. Now they're in full retool mode. And one of the most glaring spots on the roster is cornerback. Trent McDuffie got traded, Jalen Watson walked in free agency, and what's left is a group that doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence outside of Kristen Fulton and newly signed nickel corner Kader Kohu. It's thin, like really thin. The good news, this year's draft has options. Here are 3 cornerback prospects the Chiefs should have circled on their board. Will Lee III, Texas A&M. If you're building a cornerback for Steve Spagnuolo's defense, you need a guy who can handle press man coverage and not flinch. Will Lee III fits that description. He's physical at the line of scrimmage, has the size and length to jam receivers before they can get into their routes, and knows how to disrupt timing early in a play. Exactly the kind of disruption Spagnuolo loves to create. Lee is projected as an early day 3 pick, which means if the Chiefs want him, they can probably get him without spending significant draft capital. He's still needs work as a run defender, but as a press man corner on the outside, there's something real there. He came over from Kansas State, knows the area, and fits the scheme. Low risk, solid upside. Chris Johnson, San Diego State. One of the things that makes Spagnuolo's defense tricky to prepare for is that his secondary players move around. Pre-snap, post-snap, nothing stays the same. For that to work, you need versatile defensive backs who can line up inside or out without missing a beat. Chris Johnson is exactly that kind of player. He's been one of the more buzzed about names in pre-draft circles, and for good reason. He can play the slot, he can play outside, he's a plus in man coverage, and he contributed on special teams at San Diego State. He was also one of the standouts at the Senior Bowl earlier this year, which matters when scouts are evaluating whether a player's tools translate to the next level. Johnson checks a lot of boxes for what Kansas City needs in their secondary right now. Mansour Delane, LSU. Alright, this is the name that's going to get people talking. Mansour Delane might be the best pure man coverage corner in this entire draft class. His technique in press coverage is clean, his off-man positioning is disciplined, and his short area burst allows him to play like a ball hawk. He closes fast, he competes for the ball, and he makes plays. The question is where he goes. Delane could realistically be in play at pick number 9 for Kansas City, or in a trade back scenario where the Chiefs move down and still land him. If Brett Veach believes this is the right guy, don't be shocked if he's the pick, even with the pass rush needs staring everyone in the face. Sometimes the best player available is the right call, regardless of position. Look, the Chiefs have real decisions to make, and they have to make them fast. Cameron Jordan could be a smart short-term fix, but the draft is where this roster gets built or broken. Veach has to nail these picks, so tell me, do you trust him to get it right this time? Drop it in the comments. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing from Chiefs Kingdom.